Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. House Bill 2214 has an amendment that makes the bill, and I ask for a motion.
There's a motion, properly second.
Thank you. House Bill 2214 as amended. It's a bipartisan piece of legislation and should take care of all your concerns that I've heard over the past couple of weeks. My good friend Senator Lowe Finney passed it out of the Senate floor Monday night. We need this back home pretty bad. We got here because of a 2002 law, and I promise I'll be brief. I know it's your last meeting. We got here because there was a state law in 2002 that raised all juvenile court clerks' pay, independent of if that was a part-time court or not. Ours is part-time court, and so it raised everybody's pay, and maybe the folks that were here then, legislators, senator, and rep, maybe should have done something about that. We wouldn't be in this jam today. But we're part-time, and that's the difference here. That's the big difference I want you to understand. Be smarter this week than I was last time, and the questions you pose to me and maybe to anybody else that comes here, let's pose them to Sally Sweeney. She drafted this legislation very tight. We spend a lot of time on it. She's not going to let me do two things. She's not going to let me bring something in here that's unconstitutional, and she's not going to, number two, let me do something that affects a man's pay during his term. So we know better than that. We didn't do that. So any talk about a current lawsuit or anything doesn't apply. This thing is amended. It's from 2010 on. It's from the next election on. So it doesn't apply about current lawsuits.
Okay.
It affects one person in the whole state. And Gibson County wants to pay its juvenile court clerk. It wants to pay its juvenile court clerk different pay than that state law passed in 2002 because we're different. We're part-time. They meet 2 days a week. So that's part-time. And we want to pay part-time wages. This guy, if he wants to say he's full-time because of the Constitution, that's fine. Let him show up as often as he wants, read the paper, whatever, but they meet 2 days a week, and we want to be able to pay him a wage consistent with a part-time court.
Is there a motion on the amendment and a second? Motion, properly second. Representative Eldridge, you have a question?
Representative Crider, thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's a letter before us. Mr. Hayes testified when he was here a couple of weeks ago that that he had 9 employees, and you requested a letter from your county verifying that information. And if we're correct, there's only actually 4 employees. Is that what we're saying there?
He supervises 4 employees, and he said that at the 26 minute and 18-second mark. By the way.
Why do you think he came up with 9 employees? Where was he going with that?
You'd have to ask him, but I would think to justify, hey, I need higher pay. I run a big office of 9 people. I don't think he's going to say much about that. They only work that the court only meets 2 days a week.
I mean, why would he come up here and testify before this committee and lie like that?
You have to take that up with him.
Okay. Is your county commission you supported this? Are they supporting your bill?
22-3 was the vote to ask me and Senator Lowe Finney to come up here and do this.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman Jones.
So you want to come with a bill that will supersede state law, right? We passed this bill for all juvenile courts clerks, and your county wants to take that out. And you're saying this man only works 2 days a week. I mean, somebody's lying. It's a big discrepancy.
I'm not going to get in. I don't think I ought to get into how much he shows up or doesn't.
That's what. Wait a minute. This is what it's all about. You saying he says he's there for 40 hours, and somebody has to supervise those 4, 5, 9 people, whatever. And you telling us that he only shows up 2 days a week. That's his job.
I never will say that.
You just said
we are a part-time court, meets 2 days a week. And I wish y'all would allow us to pay part-time wages. I ain't never going to say how much he shows up or doesn't show up.
But we did a formula. We did a formula that was supposed to be fair for all personnel statewide juvenile courts. And this is the only area, the only county that wants to do away with what they pay. I mean, I can understand poor wages. You look around here at us, we get poor wages, but who supervises those other personnel when he's not there?
DCS supervises a few, almost the remainder of the 9 he claimed, and
so the
judge has 2 that he.
So they don't come under him at all.
No.
He doesn't supervise any personnel.
No, he's not. They are not under his direction.
Chairman Rinks.
I mean, I don't really understand why they've even got a juvenile part-time clerk in Gibson County. In my opinion, they ought to, they either fund it or they don't. I guess that's my opinion. But I guess, Sally, my question is, I understand there's a lawsuit pending now on this, and if we pass this bill as amended, how does that affect, does that have an effect on the lawsuit?
Silent.
I wouldn't think it has an effect on the lawsuit because the lawsuit is based on from the time he became a court clerk until when they run again, that he is owed this higher salary. So that is what the lawsuit is going to be on, and this amendment's beginning to change that salary beginning in 2010, which is the next election cycle. So I would think that the lawsuit would continue regardless of this amendment.
Okay. And that's I think that's somewhat important because normally I don't like to vote for things that changes the outcome of something that's pending out there. So I mean, but
Chairman Jones.
Representative Crider, if I remember right, what happened is when this first came up, it was a young lady that was the juvenile court clerk, and she had agreed to do this for part-time and part-time pay. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
So we're going to hold him, who's an elected official, to the standard that she agreed to. He didn't agree to this. She the one that agreed to it, and I think she was appointed, wasn't she?
I imagine, I think she was, yes, sir.
Right. So, I mean, that was an agreement between her and that organization, and I don't know why, I mean, well, not organization, her and the local government, and I don't see why we should hold him to the same standard on something that she agreed to when she was appointed. Now, we talked about elected official. This man is elected, and he's due that salary, and I don't see why we would take that away from him just because it's based on an agreement that an appointed official, a young lady, had when she was there.
We don't, nothing in the code, nothing in the statute, nothing I'm proposing has anything to do at all with an agreement made back in 2000 or whatever it was. What I'm trying to get y'all to understand, appreciate, and I hope you will, is that in 2002 y'all passed a state law that raised up juvenile court clerks' pay independent if they was part-time court or not. Y'all say I'm trying to do something to mess you up, but I beg y'all to see that state law 2002 sort of goofed us up with our part-time court.